Good afternoon, student. Today I will talk with you about chapter number 1 for Architecture 110. For make sure you should remember this is Architecture 110, not 113, because I have 2 classes for this fall, so that's why when you open chapter 1 or the lecture, you should read for make sure you're on the right class, and this is Architecture 110. The textbook it look like this. This is the book you need to buy because in the quiz and the final I have a lot of question inside from the book. The textbook, the name is Architects with the question mark by Roger Lewis. This is the 3rd edition, and my name is Holly, and you can contact me anytime if you have the question. xvan@cerritos.edu, that's my email. Now with the class for Architecture 110, your responsibility is you need to read all of the chapter, the one on the schedule. I post on the schedule which one you need to read and what day, the due date for everything on there. The day for I put on the schedule so you can see the day for the chapter lecture, and after that the day for the quiz or the final. So everything I post on the channel. You need to read that, and after you read, you need to answer the review question, because on of the lecture I have the review question. So you need to answer that. Basically I have 8 questions for each chapter. So after you review that, you need to email to me. You can email me by the due date if you look at the schedule, or you can send me on the weekend. So if you want to get the credits, you need to do that. You need to read, you need to answer the question, and after that email back to me. Remember, check email regular for make sure that I have some announcement about the lecture, about the class, or some information about the last. So that's why you should check email regular. And not yet, when you check the email, for make sure that you receive my reply email. That means when you email to me, I read that and I return email for you, for make sure that me and you communicate for this chapter. Okay, so that's your job. And you also check announcement, because I usually put the announcement on Canvas files or the Canvas announcement. So you can open the Canvas on of the student on Cerritos. You need to create the Canvas account, and after that you can open that. When you register for my class Architecture 110, that means you can open on of the announcement, on of the lecture I post is on the class. So that's why you need to do that. One more time, this is the book you need to order. Even you can contact with the bookstore. I hear that they have the free delivery, so that's why you can contact with them about us. That is general information I need to tell you about the chapter 1. I mean on of the chapter in the lecture Architecture 110. So now today we learn about chapter 1. And chapter 1, if you look at the book, they call that why be an architect. Why? You need to select the major in architecture. And this is the picture when you see the architect before, long ago. But now architects cannot use the table look like this. We have the computer, we have the table, the small one to do for design, and not do like this. It did a story very long ago. Okay, I just share with you about the picture like this. So now this is the example from the review reading question. That means after you read on the chapter, you can answer on of the question here, and you email back to me. Okay, just the answer very general. Do some kind like the main point from the one you review reading. So basically I have create the question for each chapter, and you need to answer, email back to me by the due date or on the weekend. Okay, so under that chapter I have the question like this for you. So now go back with chapter number 1, why be an architect. I have basically few points you need to focus on why you need to be architects, and this is from number 1 to number 12. I just put the general points for you to focus on the chapter. However, I will let you know few of them is very important, is why you select architecture in your major, and this is the main point I want to discuss with you for this chapter. So the first one, creative and intellectual fulfillment. Creative, that is the main point from architecture. When you're thinking something, you need to create your idea, and after that you develop the idea. The idea can be happen, very suddenly. Sometimes when you're driving, when you when you're studying, when you're driving, when you do somewhere different and the idea happen. After that you remember the idea, sketch it on the paper or sketch it on your mind, and after that go back where your working area and you develop the idea. That's very normal in architecture. So with the good architect, they are compelled by their own passion and by the intellectual, emotional gratification, and creative can be provided. Creative is hard to explain. Some kind that easy to recognize, but sometimes it's hard to tell you what I need to create. So that's why it's appear in the life and some kind that extend by all human being. Creative something beautiful. This is the primary goal for many architects. They're thinking about any good point they will do, and after that they create that idea. Even if they like it, but maybe some other dislike it. They not like it, the design, but the architect's eye is still beholds to the beauty, and she is alone in bestow on the world. Creativity is not limited to generating the works of art. The creative mind takes the pleasure in making things that work, whether city, buildings, machine, or the toy. So creativity is one of the points from architecture. So creative, that means very normal, and it is special point for architecture major. Number 2, contributing to the culture and civilization. The good architects see themselves as more than professional who render service to fee-paying client. They like to work like that to serve it for another one. Architecture is expression from the culture, or even the critics of the culture. For example, I am background in Asian, so that's why when I design something in my culture, I like to do some kind like the temple, some kind like service like region for the Buddhists. So that's why I like this. Or some kind like the culture in Asian, they have some, the culture they focus on more religious, and that's why the design they will show on that one. So now architecture historian, they spend their time to record, analyze what they see, but also readily to explore and express new idea or version. If they see something, they create the design. However, they add it on with their time for experience. They analyze it and they explore for the idea or what they see. Their vision. So the appropriate cultural achievement is significance, motivation for architects. Thus, they need to show that on appropriate. for the culture, and after that they do the motion history for the architects. Not all architectural work offer opportunity for culture or enrichment. Not all of them, but a lot of them, they focus on the cultural enrichment. Architects must cover the field, respecting what old and create something new. That's the job from architects. They use their work to explain, or they try to cover the old thing, after that update with the new one. And a lot of architects do go by that way. Learn the old thing and develop by adding the new thing. Number 3, love of drawing without a computer. Some people think if you learn architecture major, that means you need to have very good skill in sketching, drawing, something like that. But with me, that's just one point. If you love drawing, you like sketching, it is easier than when you follow architecture major. However, if you're not the people loving drawing, you're not very good sketching, that not mean that you cannot follow architecture major. Because right now, in the present point, you can see that a lot of architects, they use for computer. So that means they just need the creative, the idea, because a lot of people use the computer and they graduate from architecture. That means that I just tell you that if you have the good skill on drawing, you have very good sketching, it will help you a lot in architecture major. For example, you think you need to talk with the client about one project, and if you have very good background on freehand sketching, you can sketch and in the meeting, and you can share with the client about the idea you can create for them in the future. It's better for the communication, and the people follow your idea. They're easy to get go with you for that major, for that projects. So that's why if you know, it's good. If not, you can learn, because right now a lot of people use digital drawings in the office. You can see the old or the senior architects right now, but not much in the company. A lot of them are young and they use digital better than the sketch or drawing. Of course they know, but not really good, excellent like the senior people. So love drawing without the computer right now is not really much, but if you have the skill on there, it's very good for your major. Freehand, and that's even you lie or not, you can use that like the methods or facility when you continue or contribute to architecture. So they can learn from the student. Architects, they can learn like the student, and after that they motivate, they engage with exchange, develop the new idea, information, and turn pass to the student. So basically the love drawing, it tell you about that. Number 4, serve it for the other. A lot of architects, they view themselves a benefactor to society, as humanists and humanitarians. When the buildings are constructed and put to use, it is very fulfillment for architects to know that the client, the user, and the public appreciate and benefit from their effort. So that means the purpose is served for another people. This is one of the picture. You can see the books. It tell you something about the architect work. For example, she is the architect. She usually thinking about the building, metaphor from the building, what size, technology, data and how the shape is, contextual, and how to transfer to functional diagram. So that means when the architect work, they combine a lot of things before they start to do one project. It's a lot of things to combine together. That's the work from architect. Number 5, teaching. Teaching in architecture is the form of giving, and it's offered for architect unit opportunity for learning's educational enrichment. I am never thought that I can be the teacher, especially teacher in architecture. I just learned architecture major, working on that, and after that, in 2009, with the depression for all of the world and the US, and I got the layoff. And that time, I'm start to go higher education. Before I graduate from, higher education from my career architecture, I got the offer for teaching. And after that, I follow with that until now, 8 years already. I cannot now look back again. I don't think I can be a teacher, but now I am. So teaching is something not in my goal, but it's come with my life. Some architects, they create the environmental, they affect the life to another people in the positive way, improving their living standard, behavior, plus. This is teaching. Many architects, they devote their time and effort to existing individual, community, and non-profit group to undertake projects, and after that to serve it for another people. So even they change the public policy, but this one affecting the building environment. So that means if you learn for architecture major, you can work like architect, or you can be a teacher. But if you learn from education major, you cannot be an architect. That's the benefit from you select the architecture major. Number 6, a rate profession for polymath. Some students tell me that you need to have very good math before you study the architecture. With me is not really right. However, architect, they must deal with a lot of complexity from design construction, so that's why you need to successful in polymath. That means you need to know something about math. With me, calculus 1, 2, and 3 is half for architecture, but the qualify for architecture major, they require you, I think that's around calculus 1. At least you know how to calculate, how to transfer the unit, how to do measuring, because everything later you need to transfer, you need to calculate for the area. So that's why you need to divide for the area from the buildings. So the distance, something like this, just additional subtraction, multiple, and division you need to do every day in the major architecture. So that's why you need to learn about math more than another major. When and why? When you study in college, you learn some about the math. After that, you go to the 5th years university, you learn more about that. Physics standard from 120, and after that's enough for the major from architecture. Money and lifestyle. A lot of the architects, they try to make money when they're young, but after that, the lifestyle from the architects is different with another people. They usually to do for to serve it for another people. A lot of architects, they have the big income, but another one not really much income. They do some kind like average, and after that they spend their time for the work they think that is value for their life. So that's why money and lifestyle is different for each people to other people. So a lot of architects after 50 or 60, they devote their experience to the younger people. They not worry about how much they get the money anymore, just enough average for their life, and after that they do a lot of work and they think that's have fun other people. This is some of the picture to show you some joke about the people like the money. If you get the money in the front door, they can go to the window one, so that means in and out. So money, that's why don't worry about money so much in the life. Another picture to show you some kind employee discuss together about what they need to do in the company. Don't worry about that. So next one, graduate architects begin their career as wage earners, drawing hourly, monthly, annually salary reflecting marketplace condition. That means that regard with the market. If the market is high, economists it increase and the salary from the architect is high. But if the economist is low, something is not developed from construction, and after that the career from architecture is low salary. So that means with the student, after you have 3 years for internship, you may become associate, principal owner, a partnership with the owner, and after that you can have high salary. Many architects they find the great satisfaction living modestly in city, but another one they like the small town, they like the quiet one to work area. So it depends. But a lot of architects they love some kind like quiet place when they create the idea. The lifestyle from architect is more basic, enjoy flexibility and freedom of the kind, not found chasing economic success. And most architects earn comfortable or modest living, enjoying reasonably but limit economic stability. One more time, economic stability is something is not very most important to the architectural life, with the architect's life in the own state. Another picture to show you something about architecture. Social status from number 8 and number 12 point, it tell you about the reason to choose architecture as a career. For example, society assume that educated architects are artistically talented and technically knowledgeable. So society does not know exactly how architects operate. An architect rarely can become part of national political power structure, but they usually not go inside the system from the political major a lot. A lot of people they thinking, okay, architect is the people regard with social status, relative, or comparison with another professional one, but really not much architect working on the government system, except they do on the city agency like me right now, or they service something on very basic level in the system, government system. They usually have the close connection with the business, financial, civic, and governmental interests. The force to be reckons with among influential peers of the local and regional realm. You cannot see a lot of architects. They do the high position in the government system, right? They usually do the private, the own company outside, the private company, or some kind they got the job in governmental. However, they not work in high position in government. Okay. So fame is usually established and measured by professional consensus, coupled with judgment made by historians, journalists, and especially clients. Most architects, they became the famous by doing work that recognized for its excellence. Some of famous architects, many people know that, but when you see one of the projects, especially the big one, the architect create the idea from design, but after that, the team working with him. He cannot finish the projects by himself alone. They need a lot of consultants working on that work, a lot of employee work under him. So that's why one project, especially the big one, this is the teamwork. And if some people know about the architect design, that's one, that means he create the idea and he do for the main design. However, a lot of people help him to finish the idea. So one project is the work for many people. Okay, so many architects well known to many older one are not well known to the younger one or published. They change by time. That's the idea, will be changed by time. This is another picture to show you the fame. When the architects done, they not write the name outside from the building or something, because the reason is when the building is finished, that means a lot of people work with him in that one. So he is the one to create the design, and maybe he follow the design change until the final, but a lot of people help him to finish that project. Immortality. Architects can leave behind architects a monument to themselves. They can design something that endure forever, or at least for a few centuries. Only architecture seems to provide the opportunity to create something lasting and immortal. And the architect lives forever through his or her work. Good architects have many parents. So parenthood must be attributed not only to architect but also to client and those who build in society and culture with architecture is a part. This is one point from that one. 11. Fulfill the dictates from personality. In the real world outside the classroom, personal characteristics may have the greater influence on one professional life than technical skill, talent, and knowledge. So that's why it's a talent and the outcomes. When you use the talent when the design and the outcomes very good after that. So this is many IQ question for the architects. The reward in architecture, similar to the other professional, depend on much of personal or behavior on IQ. So a lot of architects, they have very high IQ. They have combined the personal trait, intensity, and they can make the idea very professional. Mix the talent, the skill, and the personal quality in the career. So finally, the freedom in the own thing. If you look at the picture, they show you some kind of very freedom to select which one you need to do. That's the main point for architects. And in architecture, you see some kind like many options to do for your own thing. That's your you can devote much for the culture. And the architect, they have more freely and willfully shape for their personal image. When the clients or the public, they can give a lot of idea how that's the good time and how bad for that one, and they go with the necessary they select. They always found the amusing way to have fun and relieve the pressure and stress for architecture work. They usually do that. They make the idea when they create for that one, or if they have a lot of the pressure in work, they try to make the funny for make sure that the life is better, and they continue with the design. So that's why freedom is the only thing. That means that they have the free time. They can do by their own, and they feel relaxed when they create for any idea. So that's why their life more peaceful than another if you compare with another major. Even it cannot compare by salary, but the free time and the peaceful in mind make them very good in the design. So that's the last point for this chapter. I usually post the question in beginning from the lecture or the chapter and the end from the chapter. So make sure that you can follow easier than for the lecture. So now I would like you remember that any question you can email me, and your job is answer on of the review question and email to me on the due day or on the weekend. Okay, so this is the lecture resource. You can looking for the lecture on the canvas, and the column you can look on the files, and you can see all of the chapter I post on there. The textbook is the architect like I show you on the first page, and one more resource you can look at the lecture. This is my channel, Happylife-truelife-YouTube. Remember H is capital, the first one, and the rest of them in the lowercase. So basically you can follow the lecture on the textbook, you can follow the lecture on the canvas I post it on the files, and finally you can look on my channel Happylife-truelife YouTube for make sure. Okay, so this is the chapter 1 in the book, and this is I share with you about the chapter 1, this one. So you can look over on the canvas or my channel or in the textbook. This is the textbook. So, and the chapter today is chapter 1. One more thing, in the chapter 1 they cover 12 points like this. The first one, creative and intellectual fulfillment. The second one, contributing to the culture and civilization. The third one is love drawing. The fourth is service to others. The fifth one is teaching. The sixth is a craze, professional for polymath. The seventh, money and lifestyle. 8, social status. 9, fame. 10, immortality. 11, fulfilling the distaste of personality. And the last one, freedom to do your own things. So that basically for lecture number 1, and I think you can feel familiar. After this chapter we come with the next chapter number 2 and the last more chapter in the book. Also I have a lot of the chapter I prepare for you. I prepare for the students, so that's why I combine all of different kind from the book, and I concentrate to share with you on that chapter. That's one I do by myself. Okay, thank you so much for watching. Oh, before I stop for this lecture, I just share with you a few things about myself and my family. I am, and my family is my son. Here I have two sons. This is there's two sons. This is the oldest one and the youngest one. This is my family. This is the youngest one, and this is the oldest one. The oldest one right now, he study at UCSD. He will start from the fall semester. He will be the first year, that means senior, UCSD. And the younger, he's on the junior last year for Cal State Long Beach, and he will be the sophomore for this fall. So I have two sons, and this is me. Okay, so I'm Vietnamese backgrounds, so I'm fast and short. So basically like this. Oh, what? So that's all about myself. Hope you can follow the lecture number 1. Good, and I will continue with number 2 soon. Thanks again for watching, and hope I receive your answer, the review question soon. Thank you so much. See you next time.